A New York Times best-selling author, and some people even say I'm a life coach. I started the Daily Dish Show to share my story, my truth, and my journey to vibrancy, and to inspire others to do the same. Because it's all about grit, perseverance, and finding a way despite the odds. It's about embracing the whole woman, not just the parts that are easy to love, and feeding her heart, mind, body, and soul. But I found that this isn't just my story, it's your story too. It's go time. This is the Daily Dish. I forgot to get the joint health. Hello. That's kind of pretty back there, but it's also kind of obnoxious. The sun is not doing its best work right now. I just can't seem to position this. Anyway, my Christmas tree is up. We're having a Christmas party tomorrow, so, got to do it. And here we all are, It's the holidays. Jocelyn's here. Good to have you here, Jocelyn, by the way. And I'm really glad that you're here. If you just haven't said hello yet, that's quite all right. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about how we need to protect our energy, The holidays have a way of sucking you dry if you're not careful. So I want to talk about that today. I've got some ideas and hopefully some help if you need that. That's number one. Number two, chapter 2 or chapter 3 is going out on Friday if you bought the book. I can't even remember the name of the darn book. What I would do differently if I was 50 again. That's what I have for you. Anyway, the chapter goes out on a PDF so that you have all of these. And this book is, it's quite a book. I think it's sort of a manifesto of sorts. And it's also, it's not a book of regret, like, oh gosh, I really blew my life. And, I am 67 looking back and going, woe is me. It's not that at all. It's just some things that I'm doing now that, gosh, you know what? It would have been a lot better had I started this sooner. So if you are a part of this book, you already bought the book, you will get that chapter this Friday. Don't forget, that comes in a PDF, comes directly to your email box. We don't have it posted online anywhere. All right, so there's that. And that's at savingdinner.com/50 again. All one word, 50 again. Okay, there's that. Also, joint health is our supplement of the week, which I just realized I left up there. Listen, the joint health has Verisol and Fortigel in it. These are two researched and clinically proven types of collagen peptides that have shown in clinical trials to improve joint health. It's not just, collagen does this and collagen does that. This particular formula has been in clinical trials, and I will tell you, it is a game changer. I've been really blessed with not having bad joints. Every once in a while I'll hurt my knee a little bit, or my shoulder hurt, or I get a hip or whatever. And now nothing ever. And I really believe it's because of this joint health formula. I do it every single morning in my smoothie. My smoothie is 50 grams of protein. I've told you that over and over again, and it's made a huge difference. I also have 20 grams of fiber in there with the chia seeds and all the other stuff. Plus I do a greens drink as my kind of pre-cocktail to this whole thing. It's quite a routine and quite a ritual and quite a self-care thing that I do absolutely every morning, but I cannot tell you the difference it has made in the way I feel and my energy levels. It's just night and day. You can find joint health at savingdinner.com/joint. And I will tell you, this is the product. If you have any pain, if you take this daily, at the end of 30 days, you will get they'll refund your money. But this is the thing that you want. This is the thing that's going to make the difference. I tell you that all the time, but I mean, I'm that stoked about this particular supplement. Okay. All right. What else did I have to tell you about? Oh, the quote of the day. Do one thing every day that scares you. That's from our friend Eleanor Roosevelt. And what a good idea. Now, I would suggest not bungee jumping or parachuting out of a perfectly good airplane. Why? That's something not that scares the absolute living daylights out of you, but something that just is outside of your comfort zone, something that is beyond the couch, right? Something that makes you say, that might be a little bit difficult. Maybe starting a conversation with somebody in line at the grocery store if you're usually very withdrawn, or something else that is just going to push you out a little bit. This is how we grow. We don't grow by being comfortable. We grow by being uncomfortable. Just sad story. It's the truth. But, there you are. That's how we get stuck, by the way, is being comfortable too long. Stuck. We don't want that. Let's see. I think I have shared everything absolutely with you. We have a special of the week coming, so you're just going to have to wait and see, because I am right now working with Jenny to put it together with some fun stuff that we have, some products that we have still in our shop that I think you might like, especially for the holidays coming up. Some really good, fun stuff. So keep your eyes open. You haven't killed yourselves over Black Friday and let's see, Black Friday and Cyber Monday was yesterday. I don't know how many text messages you got, but Lord have mercy. I think I got about 20 or 30 text messages. So, all right, let's get busy. And I want to also share my friend Michelle, who I have, dear friend of mine. They're moving right across the lake from us, and I love her to pieces. She and her husband Dave are, I think, our closest friends here at Conisty. Well, Michelle, of course, plays pickleball and got bammed in the eye really hard. Had to go to the ER, then go to the eye doctor and have it looked at. She got an abrasion on her eyeball, had to do a protective lens. Then they're at CVS going and getting her antibiotic eye drops, and someone's car in the prescription line lights on fire. They have to evacuate the entire store. She writes me a text message and she said, "Today is not the day to buy lottery tickets." I'm laughing not because it's funny. I'm laughing because it's the sense of overwhelm with all of it is just, sometimes when it rains, it pours, doesn't it? So keep my friend Michelle and her little eyeball in prayer. But it also brought me to a place where I will let you know too that I just purchased a pair of protective lenses. Now, you understand something? I have always tried to go with the dupe or the cheap thing or the whatever. And for my eyes, I made a decision after borrowing somebody's really good sunglasses that I'm not doing that anymore. My sight is way too precious for it. And I just ordered on Black Friday a pair of protective lenses for my eyes. And I will tell you, they can't get here soon enough, because everything that I've worn before hasn't worked real well. And I've always taken it off and played without any protective eyewear. So if you play pickleball or do any kind of a sport that requires some kind of protection, wear the protection, okay? Wear the protection. There's Linda and Jeanette. Hi, good to have you here. Linda says help. I think she meant hello. There's a Christmas tree there. So we have to, not only do we need to protect ourselves if we're playing some kind of a sport or doing something and be wise when it comes to that, but we also have to protect our energy. And during the holidays, don't you know it, that we have this tendency to go a little bit bonkers, and what happens? We lose all of our energy and it gets sucked dry by everything. And sometimes, and I thought this was interesting. I put this, Vanessa. Look at who's here. I have not seen Vanessa in so long. It's so nice to see you, Vanessa. But sometimes, this whole idea of, we've all heard, keeping up with the Joneses. Sometimes the Joneses is you. You're trying to keep up with your expectations, your stuff, all the things, and it's exhausting. Not only is it exhausting, but you're setting yourself up for some royal disappointment. And it will happen because your expectations are beyond, and you have this notion in your head of how it's going to go. I shared with you last week how our Thanksgiving was a bust. We all ate separately, everybody was mad, and this, that, and the other. I mean, that doesn't happen. We don't have fights in this family, but it did this last time. And I know a lot of times that it was that I had so much on that whole day. That whole day was everything to me. And I can't do that. I can't put that kind of expectation on the day, on the people around it, and making sure that everything is just so. And interestingly, and I just asking you this as well, because I bet you would tell me, isn't it interesting? Because oftentimes what happens is we have this kind of expectation because of something that happened before that was great. And so we want to reproduce it. Or or we just have this whole idea, this whole notion that it should be great, and we've seen way too many Hallmark movies, and therefore we're going to translate that. I don't know. How does it work? But at this stage in life, energy is everything. It's everything. It is how you judge your day and how you get through your day and how you look at your day and say, do I have, you don't say this maybe necessarily out loud, but you're thinking it. You're looking at all the things that you have to do and you're wondering, do I have the energy to take myself all the way through this day? Do I? That's what we have. Martha's here too. Martha, look, Vanessa's here. Just thought I'd say, say hello. So if your body is the house that you live in, then the energy is the electricity that keeps the whole thing lit up. So if we're going to waste it on comparison, right? Perfection, holiday performance art, or some outdated expectation, we might find ourselves really massively disappointed and hurt. So when we do this, it's like leaving all the lights on in the house when you're trying to sleep. That's expensive, it's draining, it's pointless, and it's no good for anybody's circadian rhythm. It's going to take the energy and throw it and toss it right out the door. So here is your permission slip. Stop trying to be the woman that you were way back when you had maybe didn't have kids or grandchildren or whatever, and stop living your expectations according to what you when you had the highest levels of energy that you ever had. I've often heard women say, and I bet your friends have said the same thing, um, hey, but I used to be able to do this, and I used to be able to do that. I used to be able to go shop all day, wrap presents all night, stay up with my friends, go have a couple of drinks, blah, blah, blah. That was then and this is now. We have to get back to the same place of, this place of honoring the woman that we are now and not comparing her to the woman that we used to be. That's keeping up with the Joneses, and the Joneses is you. It doesn't work. You now today are, listen to me, you're wiser, you are clearer, you're done pretending, am I right? And you're not interested in a life built around exhaustion. So temper down those holiday things and start looking at what is real for you. What can you do? What's important? And leave it at that. Because we want to expand maybe even our energy a little bit if we can. So we have it available for the things that really matter and the things that we want to really do. So I'm going to give you a no nonsense list, if you will, that will save your sanity and restore your spark so that you have something to give this holiday season. And it's not the dregs and the leftovers from overdoing it. We don't have to Martha everything. Martha Stewart, God bless her, she gave us stuff. When I remember getting the entertaining book way back in the 80s and looking at it and just thinking, my life is absolute crap. I don't have a house that looks like this, and I don't have china that is like that. I don't do this to my food. And I was a caterer at that time, and it just completely tore me up and made me feel so inferior. But it also inspired me, and I allowed that to be part of it and just to back off a little, because what happens is this whole comparison thing is, will oftentimes that comparison will start to edge over into the place of jealousy and envy. And what a low vibe thing that is. Nobody needs that in their lives. Those are the things that really pull you down and make you feel like garbage. So we want to be in the place of being inspired maybe by certain things, but not fired up over it. So much to the point where we're just fried over it, really is the word I'm looking for. So the first thing we need to do is stop. Now she hangs around Snoop. Oh, yeah, I know. She does. She does. I know. Martha's she's quite a character, I think. Number one is to stop competing with the old versions of yourself. The old version of yourself that did well. Not only was she younger and did a lot more and could do it, and we're looking back at her and saying, well, remember all those things, but she also didn't have the wisdom that you have today to be able to discern this is important and this is not. Am I right? I'm right. So I just want you to understand, you are not supposed to be that 30-year-old version of yourself. You're supposed to surpass her with your wisdom, with the ability to be discerning, with the ability to say, yes, this passes the muster test, and no, this does not. You have that ability. And, we can choose a bare minimum holiday without it looking stark and sad, by the way. We have to look at what actually matters. We have to look at that and ask ourselves in our soul, what's the most important thing here? And then eliminate everything else. Do you need everything on your table to be absolutely the gourmet best? Or do you just need the meal completed and on the table so you can enjoy the people around you? What's it about anyway? Those are some of the questions you need to bring into there. And and by the way, just because you've always done it for 20 years and it's always been this drain and whatever, it doesn't mean you have to keep it up in the name of tradition. We get stuck on that, don't we? Have you noticed that? We get all wrapped up. Oh, well, it's traditional. We do this in our house. Blah, 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 blah. It's eaten our bandwidth for 20 years. Why are we going to continue this? Maybe we can delegate some of these things, or we could even ask, is this important? I saw some, I watch holiday movies sometimes, like with my daughter or whatever, during this time of year. And there was a holiday movie where this mom, like, this is the most important thing and this is what we do every year, and the grown kids kept vetoing her, like, yeah, no, well, let's go do this instead. And she was shocked, like, it was like origami napkins and all kinds of stuff that was just like time consuming. I love how ridiculous it was, really hyperbolic, crazy, like origami napkins for 15 people. No, but that's a good comparison to what we end up doing and how you know, we really feed the crazy. And if we're going to get off the carousel of crazy, we need to get off the carousel of crazy, because it doesn't do anything. It doesn't help anyone. And as a matter of fact, it's exhausting, and everybody around you feels your exhaustion and even maybe resentment. Because another thing that creeps in is that you have been doing this all for 20 years, and then you wonder why everybody's not chipping in to help you out. It's your dog and pony show, you know? Have you noticed that? And you expect everybody, oh, what do you need, mom? No, not necessarily. What mom needs is a spa. What mom needs is a nap. What mom needs is a comeuppance sometimes, that she keeps trying to hold on to all of these things that are tradition, to no one's benefit. Nobody cares. That's usually the thing, is nobody really cares anymore. They do about some things, but not every jot and tittle. We need to be looking at that. Number 3, we need to start canceling some draining traditions like the origami napkins I alluded to. It's okay to say, we're just not doing this unless one of you kids want to pick this up. It is okay for us to do that. And yet, locked in our perfectionism, oftentimes we will say, well, we've always done it though. It would be the first Christmas. And if we don't, it's not true. You know what's not true? It's not true that you need to make sure that the holidays are the most exhausting thing that you do. It's not true that you have to be the Christmas martyr. It's not true. You can back it off and completely switch it out and change everything if you want to. Get the tree up and decide, instead of just saying, oh, every ornament needs to be placed beautifully, put the tree up with the lights or whatever, and then invite people over, children over. Hey, come decorate the tree. It's exciting for them, not a dreaded chore. You can say no, because I'm going to have a news flash for you. You are a grown woman. You don't have to explain it. You don't have to give a TED talk about it. You don't have to apologize for it. No is a complete sentence. Just no, not doing that. No, not going to go there. No, I don't, I have to say no to this party. No, no, and no. It's empowering to say no. And it is an energy saver when you say no. We need to schedule recovery the same way we schedule commitments. This is a big deal. If it's not on your calendar, it won't happen. So while you've got the parties, the things, all the events that you're going to, also go through and schedule time and block it on your calendar that you are going to go to the gym, that you are going to take a nap, that you are going to withdraw and not necessarily be a part of the crazy. Everything doesn't mean, the holidays don't need to mean go, 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 go 100% of the time. They just don't. We also need to lower the bar on things that don't matter. I will tell you, if you had to buy a store-bought pie, it is not a moral failing, although my daughter would tell you it is. you know, everything she does is lovely, and her food, everything is just on point. But there comes a point where it's exhaustion and nobody cares that your pie is that delicious if it cost you everything that you had. It is not a moral failing to buy something or take a shortcut or whatever, or even buy a bloody ham at the ham store. I can't remember the name of the ham store, and just say, "This is it, folks. I'm not even doing a turkey this year. I'm not doing this. This is what I'm doing this year." It's just saying yes to yourself and no to all the stuff. And then raise the bar on the things that do matter. You know what matters? It's the connection with the people that you have around you at that holiday time. We had the big fiasco on our Thanksgiving, which was the Thursday before the real Thanksgiving. And the next day was Friday. And we all went out and played pickleball. And of course, Mark and I were teaching them how to play pickleball. And then we went and played bocce ball, and we brought a big cooler with some wine and cheese and crackers, big charcuterie thing. And we were there for hours. We were there until it turned dark, and we had an absolute ball. And I thought, you know what? This was more of a connection than our Thanksgiving was, because we were all together. We were doing something that everybody was laughing and having a good time with. That's the thing that it's all about. We want to pull back from the performance. Holidays as a performance art is something that, I think about that little phrase oftentimes, because it is. It's somebody there that's very interested in making sure that you are keeping up with the Joneses, and even if the Joneses is you. you know, all the lights in such a way. We have a thing here in our neighborhood where people on the signposts or the street posts, they have a street post, with the signs on them. And it's, everything is in Cherokee language. We live on SETI Court, which I'm so grateful for. SETI means walnut in Cherokee. But some of these, like Utsudatsi and Ugugu, like all these weird names. But anyway, that was a little side note that I was telling you about. But people go out and they decorate them. They decorate them and they decorate their mailboxes and they decorate, all the way. I'm going to stick a wreath out. It's it. A wreath I can do. I've got the wreath hanger. I've got the wreath. I'm going to do that. My sign, we only have 2 houses on the street, and the people who live next door to us live in Charleston and come up once or twice a year. So it's just us on the street. I don't have anybody to do this with. Some people drive down the street from us because we're in a little cul-de-sac, and I'm sure they're not looking at the sign post and saying, "Gosh, why hasn't she decorated it?" It's things like that. These are the things that we can opt out of. The other thing is, when we are in this place of just trying to do too much and what have you, is this perfectionism is absolutely destroying our peace. It's like a big boot squishing that little dove. That's what I think of. Squish, just done. We need to stop that. It takes all the joy out and it sucks us dry. And the other thing is, maybe we need to take a comparison detox. Get off of social media, y'all. Golly. So I go on social media and I just see all this perfect. And I'm like, oh, I wonder if I could do that. I wonder if look how she looks really good. Maybe I should do my hair like that. It is ridiculous. We can't help ourselves. This comparison detox is really a necessary thing to get back to our, center, to get back to what's important and who we are. The holiday catalogs are just a real booger too. Have you noticed? I mean, they just have so much stuff. Jeanette says, I have perfectionism in my personality. I tell myself nothing's perfect. You are so right. No one pays attention to a lot of things. I have to remind myself of this on the daily. So Jeanette, one thing that you might want to do is stop saying that you have perfectionism in your personality, because that's not true. Perfectionism has encroached on your personality, maybe. But I believe perfectionism is something that we allow in, but we can also allow out. It's an open door. Every time we say no to something that has, like fixing the signposts or the street posts on my whatever, and getting those all wrapped up in, holiday garland, that saying no to that is saying yes to me. It's saying yes to my energy. It's saying yes that this is what's important. What's important is is behind these doors. What's important is, can I, in a loving way, open my doors and bring people in here and give them the gift of hospitality and presence? Can I do that? And the answer is absolutely yes, but not if I'm wrapped up in all the things, because by the time I open my door, I'm going to be exhausted. And what I want to do is open the door energetic and welcoming. And I want people to feel the warmth of my home and of the people in it. That's the connection. That's what the holidays, are all about. And if we get to this place of envy, and maybe even jealousy, we need to start asking ourselves some serious questions like, well, what's this about? Is this really what I want? If we make joy a non-negotiable, which I believe we can, if we make joy a non-negotiable, then we are going to have to cut some of this crap out, because it takes up the space that otherwise our energy could be having and our connection could be happening, and true friendship and love and all the rest of it could be a part of what we're experiencing instead of this comparison stuff. And the last thing is to stop treating your energy like it's a bottomless resource. It is not. It is not. I oftentimes use the bread basket as my, kind of visual, because I always see a bread basket being passed. Yeah, this is how I see it. Of course, it's always food oriented, right? When you have your energy, you have a packed basket of bread, and it's got the napkin on top, and it's just full. And as you pass it along the dinner table, everybody's taking something out of it. And by the time it gets back to you, there's very little left, right? That's okay. That's meant, you're meant to pass that back. But then it's up to you, because it's come back to you, to replenish that. And it doesn't mean you need to swing it back around either. You're always going to be giving to somebody. You are. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's when we overgive and overdo in the name of the holidays, in the name of entertaining. But let's, instead of entertaining everyone, let's take a step back and let's be hospitable instead. Having somebody come into your house and all you have is, like, your little nativity scene set up and a Christmas tree, perfect. Absolutely perfect. That's what perfect is right there. Because you give more attention to those who are coming through your doors than all the stuff to impress. Because all the world's a stage, isn't it, at that point? So if you think about this for a minute, if you think about this, that whoever it is that is living in your head of who it is that you have to impress, and these perfected images that you have of your past self with this boundless energy, understand that today, where you are now, it does not match your current life, your values, your biology, your bandwidth. It just doesn't. That's the truth. So let it go. Let her go. Allow her to be part of your past, and don't compare yourself to yourself. Compare where you are and what you have the bandwidth for, and allow for that. And another thing, if you get wrapped up in perfectionism, you know what else you get wrapped up in? Holding it all to yourself. And when you hold it all to yourself, that means nobody else gets to participate. Maybe you get your daughter or your son-in-law or whatever to carve the turkey this year, or you get somebody to put the lights on the house if that's an important thing, if they want to. But you see what I'm saying? Delegation isn't just, for getting chores done or whatever. It's also for the holidays. It's also to include people in to the inner circle of what it is to have the holidays. Your former self has served her purpose, by the way. She built the foundation, she carried the weight, she did the work. And now your job is to build a life that you don't need to recover from. Period. Right? At this stage in life, the only competition that matters, and I know that I'm right about this, the only competition that matters is this. Are you becoming the woman that you want to be, or meant to be, or trying to resurrect the version of you that was never meant to last? And I'm going to tell you right now, you already know the answer to this one. All right? Am I right? All right. So that's it for today. That's enough out of me. You've heard enough. Don't forget about joint health. Don't forget about 50 again. If I were 50, these are the things that I would do differently. And, and if you haven't seen that video, by the way, you can go on TikTok or Facebook or whatever. It's everywhere. It's gone viral on Instagram. It has 2 million views, and it's got 500,000 views, blah, 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 here in, I think on TikTok. Anyway, the whole point of it is, that's what the book is based on, was that one viral video. Pretty scary to do that, right? All right, Jeanette. Thank you. Jeanette and Vanessa, it's so good to see you, by the way. And who else was here? Martha and Linda. Also our friend Jocelyn was here today, at least who said anything. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I will see you again next Tuesday. Meanwhile, keep up with your emails. Keep up with your emails. And one other thing, do not sleep on the joint health deal, okay? Joint health is the product that I use every single day. And if your joints hurt, this is for you, savingdinner.com/joint. Thanks again. Peace be with you. Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining me today. You can find me on TikTok for daily tips to help support your most vibrant life. And remember, you are the author of your own story.